All right, 3, 2, 1.
Perfect.
That was clean.
Yeah, that sounded pretty good.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 10 of Ambiance podcast. With me, I have Ishmael. I don't know how to say your last name. I'm not gonna lie.
Ishmael Verduzco.
Verduzco, better known as Ish or DJ Ish. Welcome back to sunny Southern California, man.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. I'm over here sweating a storm. I'm still not used to it from the Bay Area. Or I'm from Southern California, but I'm living in the Bay for a little bit. So I'm still getting used to the heat.
Yeah, man. What made you move back to Socal from the Bay?
Mostly just family. So I was up in the Bay for about 5 years, and not being able to go to like graduations and like barbecues and birthdays and all that, and just seeing family on a regular basis, it was kind of tough. So made the decision to come back down, and I'm still with LinkedIn, so that's nice.
Yeah. So they just let you go remote?
Yeah, working remote right now.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
What are some, I mean, it must have been hard for you to leave like that life over there at SF, because you were having fun, and I saw it. You looked like you were having a lot of fun, and then like you had a lot of close friends over there, right? Yeah,
I have a ton of friends. So I went to school in Central California, and the way it works is like usually half the people that graduate go to either to LA area, or most people go to the Bay and like find jobs in tech.
Right.
So I did have a ton of friends out there, but I'll still see them.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed between like Northern California and Southern California? What would you say?
Some of the big differences, I mean, I feel like San Francisco in particular is super expensive, but that's just one thing. Cultural differences, I think Southern California has a lot more different pockets of culture, and meaning like if you're in LA, you can find like go to East LA and see like find a lot of Hispanic and Latin culture versus like San Francisco, and I think Bay Area has that, but it's like being more watered down like each and every year that I guess tech grows out there. It's sad.
Yeah, I see that. I think too, because I was in the Bay Area for about 8 months, and you know that there is just, like you said, I lived in Oakland and then I commuted to the Bay Area, and I've never like had more of a fun time in my life than like living in the Bay. But like you said, it was extremely expensive.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
That's what drove me back away. Like I was having so much fun and it was a great time, but I was like, man, like I'm looking at my 5-year plan and
it's not looking too hot.
It's not looking good with this
not gonna buy a house,
these rent prices.
Barely gonna buy a car.
Yeah, they say like something like you get like you have to choose like between 3 things, like comfortability, price, or something else, like, and you could only have one or something in living in the Bay, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
But how about the tech industry? Like, how is the culture in tech, like working in tech?
Yeah, so for everybody out there listening, so my name is Ishmael Verduzco. I'm Latino Mexican, from Mexican descent. My grandparents were born in Mexico. My parents were born here. So that kind of ties into your question in terms of like how is the culture in tech. I think the culture in tech is overall very inspiring, very motivating for people like that want to grow in their careers and do really cool shit at dope companies that are at global scale. I think the one area that, and it's starting to come up more and more with tech companies, is it's not as inclusive for people from all different backgrounds.
Right.
So I think the current stat is that there's about 4% of people that work in tech are Latinos.
But only 4%.
Only 4%. I think it's 4% Latino and it's like 3% Black. So if you think about those two collectively, it's 7 to 8% out of 100% people. So if you have a room with 100 people, that's 4 people are Latino.
Yeah.
So I think the overall the culture is super inspiring to like work in tech and be a part of some amazing companies, but I think it still has a ton of room to grow, to not only like find more diverse candidates from different backgrounds, not only like Black or Latino, but just people from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
And then after finding them, like making them feel like they belong there.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough problem.
That must have made you feel like pretty blessed too at the same point, like just to realize that like I'm one of very few in this like big industry, right?
Yeah.
And
which is also like while I've been at LinkedIn for the past 4.5-5 years, like I've been super involved in different events, different communities, giving back to like youth and showing like younger people. I mean, I'm 26, 27, but showing people like in 15, 16, 12, 13 that there's a possibility of somebody that looks like them, talks like them, from similar backgrounds, like make it into these companies.
Yeah, and I see you like taking that angle and like running with it too, because you let it be known that you're like a person of color in tech, and you're always promoting people to try things like that and get into industries like tech. What intrigued you about tech from the jump? Like, what made you want to get into it?
Yeah, so when I went to UC Merced, I think my junior or senior year, I started looking at jobs and started thinking through like, well, what is it that I wanted to do? And I basically wrote down a list of like the top companies I would love to work for, and on that list was like like it was 2 different categories mainly. It was tech and it was entertainment, so like Live Nation, Insomniac, all that, those type of companies. And then it was tech, so it was like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and so on. And I think the main reason between the 2 is because entertainment, I'm super passionate about like doing events and hosting events and concerts and shows and all that. And then tech, I just found it fascinating. And if you noticed, all those companies that I named were social media companies. Yeah. So I found it fascinating to be able to like be a part of an organization that literally touches like everybody in the world. Like Facebook, there's billions of people around the world that use Facebook. Yeah. Like LinkedIn, I think the current number is like 600 million members. Wow. Around the world. I didn't know that. Snapchat has like 250 million members per month that use the platform actively. Right. So I think it was super inspiring for me to like start looking at companies and understand like, well, if I'm a part of a project, it's not only a part of the project for the company, it's also like going to impact like potentially millions of people around the world. Right. Yeah. So were you involved in anything in college that led your interest to tech? Like, I know you kind of decided towards the end of college, when you started applying places, but when you specifically, because you're in social media marketing, right? Yeah. For LinkedIn. So in college, was there anything in like that you were doing as a maybe a club, part of a club or anything that was? I was a part of our business society. So it was like a business club. I was a part of AKSI, which is like a business fraternity. I was a part of like doing events on campus. I think the underlying thread since like middle school or high school is I was always been like a fan of social media. Okay. So I think I like this is not even social media, but back when like AOL Instant Messenger was a thing, like I think I was like I was like 12 years old, like in middle school. Like I found it fascinating to be able to connect with people online and like be able to message them and like build a brand and share content and keep in touch with people. So when I was like getting ready to like start looking at companies to work for my junior, senior year, and even in college, I started kind of like auditing myself and thinking through like, what do I really like doing, or what are the apps or the companies that I really stand by. So if I like really stand by Nike and what they like stand for, then that's probably a company that I would enjoy working for, Right. So then when I made my list of tech companies and I took a look at it and I was like, wait, these are all like social media companies. It's because I use all the platforms on a daily basis, and I would imagine that I would love to work at one of them, Yeah, definitely. So I guess it was less of like a tech thing. It was more like even more specifically social media within tech. Gotcha. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a blessed role that you're in right now. For me, because I was working for Yelp over there, what led me to do it, I was ending my college career, and I was applying to places, and I think I walked by my student counselor. She was walking by me in the halls, and she's like, hey, so like, what are you doing after you graduate? And I was just like, I'm applying to places. I really don't know like exactly what I'm gonna do. And then she's just like, oh, you should apply to Yelp. I heard they like hiring student athletes. And I was just like, oh, really? I didn't know that. So I was like, all right, I'll apply. And I think she knew somebody out there, so she ended up putting in a good word for me, and then ended up bringing me out there. The plug, man. The plug, yeah. Shout out to the plug. I had to hit my plug walk after that. But that's dope. Yeah, it is dope. But yeah, it's an interesting culture out there. I feel like it's a world of its own in tech. Yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely a bubble too. So if you don't like regularly get out of it, I think you kind of get used to it, and which is it's kind of scary because the rest of the world doesn't operate the way tech does. Like the rest of the world doesn't treat you as well, or like you don't get fed every single day. You don't get like buses taking you to work. Talk about that. Some of the benefits you get, because I mean, for me, I got some cool benefits at Yelp, but LinkedIn had like, I think, some of the best out of all the tech companies. Yeah, LinkedIn has like very, very good benefits. I think some of the ones that stand out, I already mentioned it. So I was living in San Francisco for a little while. I was working in South Bay, which was not that far, probably like 30 miles, but with the Bay Area traffic for work every day, it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours each way.
Yeah.
But luckily LinkedIn has like buses that they ship their employees like back and forth, so you just like walk a couple of blocks to the nearest bus stop, and it's like a huge tech bus with Wi-Fi. You can like sleep, and it takes you to and from work. There's free lunch every day, like buffet style at LinkedIn. So it's like an Asian section, like taco section, American section, etc. Like
it's literally like, for the listeners out there, it's like I've been eating there because the workers, the employees there can actually like have guests over. So my office was like down the street from
literally down the street.
down the street. So I knew a couple of people that worked there too. And I remember the first time I ate there, you brought me and Eddie over, and it's literally like, these are like not 5-star chefs, but they're like really good chefs, and it's buffet style, like better than, it's like a Vegas buffet, bro.
Literally. But yeah, I mean, the food's obviously one of the top benefits, but there are some like very random benefits that I've never heard of any other company do. So one of them is called like Perk Up, and essentially every year LinkedIn allows its employees to have $2,000 to spend on health and fitness. So like gym membership, it'll cover your gym membership. Babysitting, so if you have like kids and you need to cover like partially of the babysitting, $2,000 can go to that. I think even like dog or like animal care like visits.
Really?
So if you have a dog and the dog gets sick and you need to like shell out $2,000 for the doctor, you can also get that reimbursed.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Like I've never heard of any company do like, it's basically like a, I don't know, like active spending program that you can use towards whatever you need. And then the one that I use it for is for student loans. So there's also a category for student loans. Yeah.
Wow.
So I put like money towards my student loans to help pay off the debt, and then I just reimburse it.
That's
like
awesome.
Every year, which is crazy.
That's so awesome that they do that, and you can tell that the people that work at LinkedIn are really happy doing it. Because one of the things I noticed when I was walking through LinkedIn offices and everyone eating lunch, everyone was smiling, everybody was happy, and like that was like stood out to me. I was like, everyone just is so happy here.
You treat your people good, that they're gonna do good work and they're gonna like enjoy doing it. I mean, obviously there's times that are stressful, and when you're working at a company that's operating at global scale like that, I think it can be super stressful at times when there's like tight deadlines and tough projects. But for the most part, you treat people like well, and they're gonna do well back.
Yeah, I mean, so you're working remotely. Do you work from like your house basically?
Yeah, right now I'm working from my house. My commute is like 30 seconds. Wake up
from your bed to your desk.
Wake up and just brush my teeth, grab some cereal, and then work at the desk. Yeah. So I take all my calls from the desk.
Same role and everything, just
Same
at your
role.
desk.
Exactly.
How is that working out for you?
It's working out good. I think I didn't know I was as introverted as I am. I always, or most of my life, I thought I was an extrovert until most recently I've been doing like more of those like online testing and asking people about like what my energy levels are at. And I've learned that I'm an ambivert. So depending on the environment that I'm in and where the energy levels are at in the room, will shift my energy and how like extroverted or introverted to myself that I am.
So basically, like if you're hanging around somebody that's like an extrovert and they're really outgoing, that it kind of brings it out of you, and then is that right?
Interestingly enough, it makes me like less extroverted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if I'm in a room and there's a ton of energy already going, and then I like to be more of a fly on the wall and like observe everything and like watch it play out.
Wow.
Versus if I'm in a room and everything is dead, then I feel like the need to like take initiative and like get people going, which is, I don't know if I even answered the question that you asked.
That you did. That's kind of, so basically you're the opposite of what the person is that you're hanging out with.
Oh, so the question originally was for like, what is it like working remotely?
Oh yeah, working remotely.
I have a ton of meetings, so like taking video calls from home is not too bad. But I didn't realize that it would be so much more efficient for me because I am an ambivert. So being in a room by myself for 5-6 hours and then going down and get lunch and then coming back up is not as difficult as I thought it would be for me.
Right.
Versus maybe like a year ago when I thought I was super extroverted, I would think being by myself in a room for 6-7 hours would be like I would go crazy, but that's not the case at all.
For me, man. So when I moved back to Southern California from the Bay, I did the same thing. I was working remotely for Yelp. I was doing the same role and everything like that. And I was so hyped. I was like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. I don't have to commute anymore. I could work from my room. And it had its perks, but I like literally started getting depressed, man.
Yeah.
Like after 2 months of doing it, I quit because simply like I was going crazy. Like you would think like working from home, it sounds awesome and everything, but like just being, so for me, this is how I like to explain it. So like everybody out there, you like listening and watching, and you like if when you get off of work, like usually going home is like your safe haven. Like that's
Like
where you go to de-stress, decompress, and everything like that, and like get away from everything like that. When you work in the place where you de-stress and decompress, there's nowhere else to go. Like, so I found myself like hating being home. Like I was in my room and I was just like,
I've been here all day.
exactly. I didn't know where to go anymore. It was really weird dynamic for me. Like I was constantly getting out of the house, going places like I didn't even want to go, and I was just like,
go to the store just to go.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, things like that. So yeah, it was a great job for me, but for me at least, it didn't work out for me. Maybe it's my own personality trait, you know. But yeah, I mean,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that role of like working remote, you need to, or for most people, I think it's a matter of finding out what works for you, where you find your energy levels, and then if you do find energy out of people, it's figuring out a way to like be around people even if you're not talking to them. So one thing that I'm gonna start testing out is like going to different coffee shops and just like posting up for the day and working, as long as I don't have meetings, obviously, because it's loud.
Yeah.
But I do find energy being around people, and I do find more focus when I'm around people that I don't know, because I don't have like obligation to talk to them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start testing that out pretty soon to see if it works and I can concentrate more.
That work-life dynamic, man, is really important.
Tough to figure out. But
it is tough to figure. And so you're kind of just saying like know yourself.
Yeah.
And figuring out
like where you find your energy, figuring out if solidarity works for you or not, and how much solidarity you can do. Also, like super like specific and super random, but at LinkedIn there's a coffee bar, and I didn't realize how much how dependent I was on the coffee, like after lunch or like in the morning, until like I started realizing for the first week that I was working from home. I was like, wait a minute, why do I feel so sluggish? It's like, oh shit, it's because I haven't had coffee yet.
Yeah.
It's like
it was such a part of your routine.
Yeah,
right?
It became part of my routine. Exactly.
So what do you do now? Do you still drink as much coffee? Or?
I was already cutting it down when I was at LinkedIn, because I feel like I was drinking too much coffee, but now I'm drinking a little bit, like half a cup in the morning and then half a cup after work, and then going to the gym after work.
Okay. I'm sure you miss that free food, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely missed.
Yeah, I bet.
Cool being back.
Yeah. What are some, would you say, some of your main takeaways from your 4.5 years at working in tech?
This one's probably applicable to anybody, no matter like what industry you're in, and it sounds super cliche too, but like you're expected to do your job, whatever your job is. If you're a coordinator, if you're a manager, you're expected to do that job. But being open to other opportunities that may come your way when they're unexpectedly come your way, and like being open to being a part of a project, or being open to helping out even when it's not your job. I think that is a huge miss when people don't like take advantage of those opportunities, because personally speaking, in my career at LinkedIn, I've been in 4 different roles, and each different role, even if it wasn't like a promotion, it was like a lateral move. They all came from like side projects that I've been on at the company. So whether it's just me like raising my hand and saying, hey, I have an extra 5 hours a week, I can help out on this project, I'm more than happy to. I may not have the background in it, but I'm willing to learn.
So like acting on those opportunities that presented themselves, right?
Exactly. And not being afraid of like, well, that's not really my job, so I'm just going to stick to what I do.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Having that, it's like having more of a growth mindset, be willing to like learn, be willing to help out when you're not asked for, being willing to like help out even when it's not your job. And then next thing you know, you meet new people, different areas, flex different muscles in different categories that you're like not normally doing in your day to 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Which could potentially like down the way lead to more opportunities. And
would you say too, like getting out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, 100%. Because I wasn't a social media lead before this role. I was like doing a project management role, doing a bunch of different things for the company. But one of those projects was social media, and so I started getting better and better at it, and then now I'm doing that full time.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. I'm sure that this is the last thing we'll talk about for the Bay. What is the like number one thing you're gonna miss from San Francisco?
Dolores Park.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you who have not been to Dolores Park, it is basically just a park in San Francisco, in like the middle of San Francisco, but like the most lit park in the world. Like,
man,
people go out there with like drinks, food, music, like thousands of people every Saturday and Sunday, and like this super sunny, and literally just post up and chill with friends and like oversee the entire San Francisco downtown area, and I think that probably will miss the most, because I don't think you can find that anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, dude, there's nowhere else like that, for sure. I loved, because you could literally just go there. I kind of think of it like the beach. Like, people just like lay out on the beach.
Exactly.
Like, people don't even go in the water most of the time. They just go to the beach. It's a place to go to. It's like a beach setting in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Like instead of being on the shore, people are on the grass, and anything goes. Like, you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's illegal there.
It's super cool.
Pretty much.
The second thing that I would probably miss is just how compact the city is of San Francisco. Like, you can be in Mission District on one side of the city, and like, if you really wanted to, you can walk 2 miles and be on the entire other side of the city. I think the city's 7 by 7, so 7 miles by 7 miles. That's all of San Francisco.
Right.
So being able to like get from point A to point B relatively quickly is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I have some similar endeavors that I'm gonna miss over there too. But you're involved in a lot of things outside of work. Mm-hmm. You're always running around doing a bunch of shit. What? So DJing is one of the main ones, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get into DJing?
I got into DJing high school. One of my friends, Andrew Rios, he's probably been DJing since we were like 10 or 11, doing like quinceañeras and like family parties and stuff. So when we played soccer together in high school, I was always fascinated by like him and being able to control like a crowd, and it was just like at family parties too, but being able to like make people going from sitting down to like getting up and dancing I thought it was fascinating. So one day I just asked him like, hey, like, would you mind like teaching me the basics, and maybe I can come over to your house like every day after soccer practice. So I did that for a little while, and then
what were you using? My bad to cut you off. Like,
we were using, they were like Denon before CDJs were even super popular. They were like Denon makeshift CDJs. I don't even remember what they were, but they got the job done.
You gotta work with it.
Yeah,
right?
we had to make it work.
Yeah. So many.
He also had some turntables too. They weren't like Techniques or anything, but they worked.
Yeah. So many people out there, I feel like when they're interested in getting involved in like some industry, whether it's like DJing, photography.
They want to get like the prime.
Yeah, like they think that you have to get like what people are suggesting out there. And I would like anybody looking to get into DJing or anything like that, I would be careful about like the research that you do, even if it's like on YouTube. A lot of people, like, YouTube's a great source to do your research, but like a lot of these YouTubers are getting paid by these brands and these companies that are making this, this equipment. So sometimes like you can't trust everything that they're saying. Like you don't need the most expensive things to get started. You just have to get started, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the first step. But yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the or actually let's digress a little bit. Like how do you think you've progressed from the beginning of your DJ career to where you're at right now?
Yeah, so like the very beginning of my DJ career started just like I started in high school just like shadowing my friend, and then college is when it really started to take off. I bought my own equipment and started doing like house parties in Merced, which is where I went to school. Just started off with like a laptop and a speaker, doing as good of a job as I could, and then bigger parties and events and buying more equipment, bigger equipment. So for the most of college, it was a lot of like house parties, like 3 house parties a week, 2 to 3 house parties a week. It was like Thursday I would DJ at a bar. Friday I would like usually have classes and then work after class, and then right after work I would go straight to like the event that I was DJing or the party that I was DJing, and then if I wasn't DJing again Friday night, like after the party got rolled, then I would DJ another party on Saturday.
Wow.
Sometimes like 2 or 3 in a night, depending on like if the police came and like shut us down.
Yeah.
And I was friends with the cops too in Merced too. Like they already know me, so they just at one point it got to the point where they said like, Ish, you should just call me and like you should just call us and let us know that it's you, so we know it's like for the most part it's a safe party. It's not. I mean, it's obviously a college party, but it's not like some thugs throwing a rage or anything, you know.
Yeah.
So for the most part of like Merced in college was like house parties. I did a couple of like concerts for the school with LMFAO. We did one with Living Legends. We did one with who was Travis Porter. So I got to DJ those, and that was a ton of fun. And then after that, I moved back to Southern California for a little bit, and then up to the Bay, and that's when like the whole club scene for me started to take off, and do nightclubs like every single week, and less bars and more just like club setting.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And back then, like in college, were you getting paid at all to do these parties?
No, I wasn't getting paid shit. So I was getting paid like I mean, it is college students, so everybody's broke. And
Yeah,
you
dude.
barely have enough money to pay your own rent, and Merced's already cheap as it is. Like, I'll put it into perspective for you so you can understand. In Merced, you can get a house for like a 4-bedroom house for like $1,200 a month.
Really?
So I was
Wow.
paying $225 for my bedroom, my own bedroom, in a nice house in Merced.
Oh my god.
But it kind of sucked because I guess the economy-wise and how money worked in Merced, because when I would DJ parties, first off, there were no other DJs that DJ'd
At
before.
Merced?
No.
Wow.
It was like because the school was so new, I was like the 3rd or 4th class to come in as like a new class at school. So there was like maybe 1 or 2 other DJs before me that actually were real DJs, but they didn't DJ house parties. They only did like clubs in San Francisco and LA.
Oh, so there's like a huge market for you to.
Exactly. So that's one of the main reasons why I like got super invested as soon as I got to Merced, because I went to my first house party and looked around the room, and it was supposed to be like a house party, and looked around the room, and I was like, my high school parties are like better than this. Like, what is this? This is like 12 people here playing beer pong and like a Bose speaker, and that's the DJ, and they're like, yeah, this is like one of the best parties, and I'm like, this is whack. So I saw the huge like opportunity immediately. I was like, you know what, there's 5,000 students here in the city like looking for something to do on a Friday night. Most of them are like driving to Santa Barbara and to Berkeley just to like go to have
a good night out.
Exactly. I was like, why wouldn't I just capitalize on it? And it's safer. People can be in the same city and not be like driving like 5 hours to go to a house party. So you're right. I did see that opportunity immediately, and then just started like taking over and doing as many events as I could.
Right.
Yeah.
Your boy Swipe was he at Merced too?
Yeah, he was at Merced too. So him and I started DJing around the exact same time. I bought my equipment, and then he has a musical background too. So he plays bass. He played in a band, and we played soccer together. And one day he came over to my dorm, and he was like, "Yo, let me mess with that. That's pretty cool." And he's like, "All right, explain to me, how do you do this? How do you like beat match?" And he like fell in love with it too. And so then he just started like going down the rabbit hole of like looking up online, how do you DJ, how do you like beat match, how do you scratch, etc. And then bought his own equipment, started playing like in the band less and less, and then started DJing more. And next thing you know, him and I were like the 2 big dogs on campus, like DJing every single weekend. If people weren't at my party, they were at his party.
Yeah.
And if my party got rolled, I would hop on the mic and be like, all right, everybody, like my party's over, the police are here, but we're gonna keep it going at Tiger's party, at Swipe's party. Isn't
it interesting? Because you talked about it earlier, being at LinkedIn, just taking like random opportunities that you don't really have like a crazy amount of investment, or you don't think that it's gonna take you that far. It's just something that you're acting on. You've seen it like be apparent in multiple different versions of your life.
Yeah.
Like, and look at like it's just something like, oh, like I might as well try this, and then look at where it's led you to where you're at now, right?
Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure if there were other bigger DJs on campus, and that would have been like I was 17 years, barely turned 18 when I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been intimidated very easily by like 21, 22-year-old guys that are like big dogs DJing all the parties and events. So if I didn't see that opportunity, I probably wouldn't have invested as much time and effort and money into DJing as I did as soon as I got to Merced.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Because similar to me, I had a really similar like, I don't DJ now anymore, but I used to in college, and the reason why I got started was because of that same reason. I was
like
out
the
there.
Lack of other
Exactly.
entertainment.
I went to school in Colorado, but like out here, I would have never started DJing because like I had a lot of good friends that were DJing, and they were good DJs. And in my head, I was just like, I can never compete
get to
with
that
this.
level.
Yeah, like Eddie, we both have Eddie, and it's like I was intimidated, like you just said. I didn't want to start anything. As soon as I went to Colorado, though, I went out to parties, and like you said, I was just like,
you're like, what is this?
The thing is, man, people don't know what they're not missing out on, because
you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So seeing that large market and just acting on the opportunity, I was a little bit different though. Like I would finesse, bro. Like I would go to the people would ask me to DJ their parties after I DJ'd a few, because like they didn't play the same music out there like LA had, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When you start playing music like that, they're like, oh my god, no other party plays this music, no other club or bar plays this music.
Yeah.
So they would ask me to DJ, and I'm like, they're like, can you just DJ for free? Like, we're friends. I'm like, bro, like, I have another gig that's offering me $60 or like $80. Like,
yeah, so I got paid.
Just match me. Like,
dude, that's a lot of money to like. I didn't even answer the other question you asked. So I think we were getting paid like $25, $30,
really,
$40, and then like each year we kind of Tiger and I, Swipe and I, like him and I are like best friends. So one of the closest friends I have.
Shout out to Swipe.
Shout out to DJ Swipe. But we sat down and we were like, all right, dude, we can't be getting undercut like this. Like, we're DJing for 5 hours on our feet, and they're over here trying to pay us with a bottle of alcohol, like $10 pop-off bottle. Like, we're not taking this.
Yeah.
So we just sat together. We're like, look, we're the only DJs here. If we both raise our price by $10, which is $40 for like 4 hours to DJ with all of our equipment, all of our speakers, the subs, take everything. We're like, and that was a lot for them.
Because you are the party.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
we bring the lights, the speakers, everything. But we were sat down, we made an agreement, like, look, I won't budge under 40. If you get 50, that's great, but like, let's not go into, I think it was 40 or 45 was our limit.
So you control the market.
We control the market entirely. And then obviously like other DJs popped up as the years went on, but everybody knew us as like, if they were serious about throwing up a party, then they were gonna like hit up one of us too.
Yeah.
And we would always refer to each other like, no, I'm booked, or no, I'm out of town, hit up Swipe, or Swipe hit up Ish, whatever. So
wow, that's interesting.
yeah.
What do you think the key is to making it as a DJ?
You obviously have to have skill, because I think in today's day it's so easy for anybody just to pick up a piece of equipment, or even not even have equipment, and just mix on your laptop. And I think a lot of DJs that actually do spin with equipment and know their music and know how to beat match and know the technique will agree that if you don't have the skill, then the rest of it's kind of just like putting on a brand and putting on a show, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess it's different in terms of like level of respect and in the world of entertainment.
Yeah, like between DJs, right?
Yeah, but between DJs, because there, anywhere you go in any industry, there's going to be the people that are like, they've made it, quote unquote, but they don't really have the skill to back it up. And you see it all the time, like in rappers, maybe they made it, but when you go see a live performance, they suck.
It's like their brand made it.
Their brand made it, but their performance didn't make it, you know? So I think the number one thing that you need to have before anything else is the skill, the technique, obviously, at least the fundamentals and the basics of knowing how to control a party, and no matter who's in the room. So if you're in a room with people that want to hear hip hop, but nobody's specifically telling you, you have to kind of like vibe it out and like play it to the crowd. And then after like you get the technique down, know how to like play different audiences, I think it's a matter of like putting yourself out there so that people know that you're serious about it too. It's like building a brand.
Yeah. And I think that at that same point, if you know how to maneuver in the industry where you can build your brand and you're a good DJ, it's going to make you elevate even that much faster, right?
Exactly.
But do you think you think you can't have one without the other, or?
Oh, you could. I mean, there's definitely a ton of DJs out there that have the brand and have like the following and the videos and the photos, but when you hear them live, the opener was better than them, you know? I've opened up for DJs that like, and my friends come and they're like, yo, your set was definitely nicer, and you're on at 10 p.m., you know?
Yeah.
Finished at 11. He went on at midnight and sucked way worse, you know?
Do you think some of the skills that you've acquired through your career, like LinkedIn, just being a social media marketer, help you in your DJ career as well? Yeah.
I think actually a lot of the skills that I've acquired through this DJ journey helped me get to my job as like a social media manager.
Really?
At LinkedIn. Yeah. Because the entertainment industry is always like 2 steps ahead when it comes to promoting, building brands, you know? And my role as a social media like lead for LinkedIn, I'm essentially doing that. Like I'm promoting and building a brand and pushing out content every single day.
So you know how to do it professionally already, so you can do it for yourself professionally.
Exactly. So like the things that I see and the trends that I see in entertainment, I test out with my LinkedIn job. Whatever sticks, I like figure out how to ace it and like master it, then I try it back out in like entertainment scene. So it's kind of like its own ecosystem, always testing and always trying new things, and then perfecting it and seeing like what really does work with marketing or social media branding. There's a lot that goes into it. Yeah. It's definitely like even networking with like other DJs and using each other as this resource to get more gigs, right? Definitely. There's so much that goes into it. It's very tough to make it by yourself, so like making friends definitely helps. Yeah, definitely. What are some of the genres that you spin? Yeah, so I've been developing my brand over the past 9-10 years, and more and more recently I've realized that I find the most joy out of spinning some type of like Latin music mixed with house or hip hop. So whether that's like reggaeton with hip hop and like some Afro beats, or whether that's like playing like Latin trap with like EDM, as long as it has like a Latin undertone. So in almost every single one of my sets, I'll play some type of like Latin vibe, even if it's like if I'm playing like house music and it's like more of just like regular house clubby music, I'll like throw in some like vibey like Latin stuff in there too.
Do you think that's so cool too? Just like, cause you're able to put the crowd onto the new music, because
Definitely.
like you're gonna give them what they want, but you're gonna slide in some like
Little by little, yeah.
little, and they'll just be like, I like this. I don't even know what this
It's
is.
like different, but I kind of like exactly.
And that's, I think Afrobeats is blowing up right now.
It
Like
is, yeah.
people are really catching on to that.
Yep. And so my friend Tiger that we were talking about, Swipe, he's also like Afrobeat DJ too.
Mm-hmm.
So Afrobeats and hip hop, and that's his thing. He loves it. He's really good at it too. So being able to like distinguish yourself and not just be like categorized as like a club DJ and differentiate yourself as like, oh, like I do Afrobeats too, that puts you in a whole different world of like opportunity too.
Yeah. Where are some of the places that you've spun at, like city wise or just like venue wise?
So I've DJ'd, I mean, a bunch of different cities like Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Miami, New York. I think those are like the big ones. But in San Francisco, some of my favorite clubs was like Love and Propaganda. Harlot was my first one that I did there. I've done Origin, 1015 Folsom was big. That's like a huge venue. And
Yeah,
I'm sure you've been there.
I've been to those places for sure.
But yeah, like I think every club is different in its own way, depending on like how it's set up and the regular crowd that attends. So
yeah,
each one is fun. Like it has its own challenges, and depending on what slot you have during the night, if you have an earlier slot, then the pressure's still on, because you can't do a whack set and then people leave and then you're setting up the next DJ for failure because there's nobody there.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think every club is fun in its own way.
Do you have like aspirations of playing, like what are some of the places like you want to play at?
Yeah,
that's obtainable for you at this point in your life?
So I've recently, in the past like maybe 2-3 months, I've been undergoing like not a rebrand, I think, but more of like realization of like what it is, the type of venues and events that I want to do. I'd like to get to a place where I'm doing the Coachellas, like the Dewlap tent in Coachella.
Oh shit, that would be sick.
Like the actual like big events. Maybe if I'm not even on stage, like just like one of the side, like the side stages or like the side rooms, or like bigger events like Coachella or Outside Lands, doing like one of like the side stages or opening sets for those.
And you could add that to your resume then, right? Like
yeah,
if that's one of the biggest things.
Definitely, yeah. But I think concerts, like festivals, I think that would be like next for me.
So that's okay. That's what's next.
My highlight of my probably DJ career was doing Tao Las Vegas.
Oh, you did Tao?
Yeah, did that for my birthday last year, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Got a gang of like 20 people out there, so it's really cool.
That's awesome. That's a big step for you too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope you get to reach all of those venues and concerts that you're able to, and I think you're like obviously have the ability to do it too. So yeah, and I think moving back to LA is going to be helpful for you too, right?
Definitely helpful.
Yeah. My next question is, how do you manage your time so effectively? Like, you have so much going on in your life that like some we haven't even touched on, but how do you manage your time?
I operate, and some people might think it's crazy, but I operate on a pretty like specific routine and different schedules depending on the day and the week and what I have going on. But like my daily routine is pretty set for the most part. Like Monday through Friday, it's pretty set. Like I wake up at the exact same time, go to sleep roughly around the same time, have lunch roughly around the exact same time, do the exact same things. Like I go to the gym every single day, no matter what. So I think my strength being able to do a lot of different things is because I cut out a lot of distractions in my life. Like I don't really watch Netflix. I don't watch Hulu. I don't watch TV. If I'm in the car listening to something, 9 times out of 10, I'm listening to a podcast that's specifically on a topic that I'm working on a project outside of work.
Oh, really?
So that's like I've found a ton of ways to like get them as much value out of my day as possible. So for example, I'm working on launching a podcast soon. So I've been listening to a ton of podcasts that I really like. And when I'm driving, if I have a 1 hour commute wherever I'm going, that's 1 hour of an interview that I can like, yes, I'm listening to the content that they're delivering, but I'm more so listening to the structure of how they're delivering the content. So I'm listening to the interviewer. What do I like about the interviewer? And then like mentally writing them down so that when I stop driving, I like write down all my notes. Like, okay, I love that question. I'm not going to use that question. I hated when the interview said that. And then just getting learnings out of that time. So yes, I'm getting from point A to point B, which is the most important thing. But on top of that, I'm doubling up on that time.
Maximizing my
time, exactly. Another one is I go to the gym right now like 5 to 6 times a week. When I'm in the gym and working out, I'm usually listening to a different DJ set, actual set from like a festival that I really like DJ Snake or like Diplo. And then, yes, I'm still working out and getting a good pump, but I'm also like listening to the transitions and like him hype up the crowd and like different tricks that he's doing live because that was recorded live, you know?
Yeah, smart.
So yeah, I think being able to maximize your time and finding times throughout your day that you can I wouldn't say it's multitasking. It is multitasking, but multitasking is essentially not as effective if you're not doing it right, because if you're operating on one task, that means you can't concentrate on the other. But if task A doesn't interfere with task B, and they're two completely separate tasks that don't require attention from either or side, then I think you can definitely do it. So another thing, for example, is like if I have chores to do around the house, like laundry, wash dishes, not a chore, but like showering and getting ready in the morning. You listening to a podcast is not going to pull away your attention and your efficiency, being able to fold clothes, wash dishes, or take a shower.
Yeah.
So if it takes you half an hour to wash dishes, you listening to a DJ set or a podcast or an audiobook or even like a YouTube video and just doing the audio of it, then that's time you just gained out of it versus wasting on whatever task you had to do, you know?
Because you have to do that task anyways.
No matter what, exactly.
Yeah. I think in its simplest form, it's killing two birds with one stone, right?
Exactly. And then obviously building out schedules so that you know exactly what your plan for the day is and attacking each day with whatever you have to do.
Are these skills that you've like acquired throughout life through trial and error, or like how did you come about this?
It's definitely trial and error. So I would say since like early high school, I've been very involved with like student body, soccer, swim, basketball or baseball, football, a bunch of different clubs and organizations in high school. So I think I quickly learned to like manage and juggle a bunch of different projects and things, and also my school and like fitness. So then when I went to college, I just I got older and just translated. I was a part of a bunch of different things, and then now that I'm out of school and like have a full-time job, it feels weird just to go and do work.
Okay, I see that.
So in a sense, it's been just like 10 years or more than 10 years of me just getting used to like the workload, but it's also me refining it and like learning how to develop habits, or like how to get rid of bad habits, how to make the most out of my time and be most efficient and concentrated at any given task that I have in that moment in time.
Love it. I love what you just said right there. Like not only building good habits, but realizing what your bad habits are, and like taking what that is and trying to fix it. Like human beings are habitual like creatures, right? Like we're gonna do what you are, what you repeatedly do, right?
Exactly.
So I just love that mindset. You being able to like realize that, and obviously it's like working out for you. What at that same rate, what do you do to not burn yourself out with so much going on in your life? Is there any like tips that you have on like getting away from everything? Do you need like a specific day to just kind of take it easy?
Both that you just mentioned. So one of it is a part of my routine. It's working out. So I've already mentioned this. I work out 5 to 6 times a week. I've learned that I have some of the worst days when I don't work out the day before.
Oh, okay.
I don't feel mentally as sharp. I feel kind of like my body's out of whack, unless it's my rest day, obviously. But for the most part, me working out is my de-stressor, is my reset button, is my feel good. It is my like time to like grow. It is my time to myself. It's my time to just not worry about work. It's like time to like not worry about anything else. Just like me in the gym, listening to good music, getting a good pump, That's like my time away for the most part. What I also do is like, or when I was in San Francisco for the past 5 years, I had like Sundays to myself dedicated to doing whatever I wanted to do.
Okay.
Because Saturdays for the most part was either meeting up with friends or practice DJing or working on projects or getting ready for a DJ set Saturday night. But I got into a good routine and a good habit of like Sundays, at least half of the day was dedicated to mindless things that would let me just like not have to worry.
It's important to have those.
So like for one of them was like going to the movies. I lived across the street from the movie theater. I signed up for the AMC Stubbs Pass, so it's like 3 movies a week that you can go watch. And sometimes I wouldn't even know what movie I'm watching, but I kind of wanted just to get away.
Would you go by yourself?
I go by myself all the time, every single week.
Really?
I swear, yeah. Because I know if I'm at home and I'm not talking to my family, I'm probably going to open my laptop and start practicing. And yeah, it's good to like practice and get better, but
you
like
have
you
to
said,
force yourself.
Yeah, I had to like physically force myself sometimes to like de-stress, just chill out.
Yeah.
And, like,
it's good for your mental health, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever do any other forms like meditation?
Yeah, recently I started doing it every morning. It took me a little while because I couldn't find a way to calm my mind down and like shut everything else up. But I have a very specific like morning routine. I wake up at the exact same time every single day. I talk to my girlfriend and then I roll out, I stretch my back, stretch my legs, stretch my body, and then I use Calm, the meditation app, just for a couple minutes every morning.
What is that?
Calm is like a meditation app and helps you kind of like, I guess, how would I say it? I mean, calm down.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's called Calm.
Yeah, but so. I mean, I definitely recommend checking it out. And after that, then I have my coffee and start my day. But that's like specifically every single morning I do that.
Okay.
And it helps me just because I know I'm not checking Instagram as soon as I wake up and then bombarded with tons of notifications and people hitting me up and stress as soon as I start the day. It's like I start it purposely with what I want to do and how I'm going to start the day, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Me, I've been getting into floatation therapy.
What's that?
Lately. So basically you sit in this there's a lot of different ones like around definitely Southern California,
mm-hmm.
but you sit in this chamber of Epsom salt water, and the water is set to the temperature of your skin, so it's 92 degrees, and it's a weird consistency. It's like Epsom salt and something else, and like the whole idea behind it is to feel like you're floating and you can't like feel your body, kind of a sense.
Are you actually floating or are you like standing in
you're
the water?
Floating in the water.
Oh,
so
cool.
You're like putting your arms back like this, and yeah, the idea of it is just to like, it's honestly like one of the most therapeutic and mindless like forms of therapy I've ever done in my entire life.
Like meditation. That's exactly what meditation is.
Exactly.
The point is to like get away from your day, your worries, your problems, your stress, everything, and just kind of like let the mind take it to wherever it wants to go and not think about other things you have going on in life.
Exactly. Yeah, but when I did that, like it took me like, the session's like an hour to 2 hours long, and you lay down in it, and like for the first 30 to 45 minutes I was just like, my mind wouldn't shut up, and I was just like, it's super tough, to get yourself into the meditative state. But after like I tried it a couple times now, it actually ends up like you go back another time, and then
mm-hmm.
your body realizes like, oh, I know where I'm at now, and like I can snap into that meditative state. But it's important to have like, not necessarily like floatation therapy, but just that like whatever niche you want to go down, to have that form of meditation in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been recently realizing that now, just through like outworking myself before and not having a time to meditate. Man, it's super important.
Yeah, it takes a toll. I think it takes a toll on your body in the long term too. Because I did when I was in San Francisco, I did go through a phase where I was like overworking,
mm-hmm.
like working a ton of hours at LinkedIn, and then DJing like 3 times a week, and then other projects, and like sleep habits were like terrible, like sleeping 5 hours, 6 hours max every night. And then it eventually caught up, and then when I did start to sleep 7 to 8 hours, 7.5 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, it wasn't enough. Like I didn't feel energized after sleeping a full night's sleep for a week straight, but it was because I went months of like being sleep deprived.
Yeah,
you know. So I think super important to like figure out what works for you, like that works for you. I don't think that would work for me, but
mm-hmm.
Calm and stretching every morning, and I've been doing yoga more too, and that helps too, because can't be checking your phone while like doing crazy yoga stands. So you're definitely not using your phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a bit of golden hour here on Ambiance podcast.
It looks nice right now.
The sunset, that beautiful Southern California sunset. But yeah, dude, the balance of life is a tricky thing.
Agreed.
Like trying to figure out what works best for you, and like for you, working out has definitely become therapeutic for you, right?
Yeah.
You've been on
like
your fitness shit.
It's so ingrained in part of my routine. I feel weird if I didn't do it for like more than, and I do feel weird if I go on vacation with family or with my girl and it's like 2 or 3 days. I'm like, okay, I think I gotta like do something. Like, I gotta go. We gotta go on a bike ride or just something because got all this energy I gotta let out.
Yeah, you're getting bigger and bigger, dude.
Thanks.
That's
man.
awesome to see.
Trying.
Yeah, you went from I'll have your daughter home by 10 to I'm your daddy now.
Yeah, in high school I was a twig.
Really?
I was like 150 pounds, 155 pounds.
Damn.
Now I'm like, I mean, they can't see me because people are listening, but now I'm like 205, a lot bigger. That's like 60 pounds.
Yeah. Do you think back then, like when you were a lot smaller, you think you could have like envisioned you where you're at right now as far as your fitness journey goes?
The funniest thing is I thought I was big back then too.
You thought you were big?
Yeah.
Who lied to you? Who told you you were
me
big?
and my boy Aaron, we would work out in like my my garage using this like tiny little gym set with like 25-pound weights, and the bar was like 10 pounds. Yeah, it was nuts, but come a long way.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see. I love like watching your on social media. You're always like, sometimes I see you working out like, and then you see somebody else like on having a routine basis like that. And then another thing is too, like people who follow you on social media, right? They know how busy you are, but they see that you still make time to work out. So I feel like for me at least too, and for them probably as well, it gives them like inspiration and motivation to be like, damn, if Ish has all these things going on in his life and he can still find time to work out and do all these things, then I can too, because a lot of the people that are following you might not have as many things going on in their life. So the least that they can do is just make it to the gym.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I'm actually starting my own podcast too, is to uncover like the stories obviously of people that do cool stuff, but also like the habits, the rituals, and the key learnings of people that do dope stuff and that do excel in whatever they do, but are also good people too, and do have like a lot of the shit going on, but yet they still kill it in whatever they do and manage multiple things. Because I think at the end of the day it does come down to like the habits that you create, the routines that you set, how you learn from things that you go through in life and then react to it, like how you overcome adversity through different situations. So being able to like formalize that through audio and through like written content and share that with people like you're doing with this podcast too.
Yeah.
Like that's super cool because you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Next thing you know, you learn something from this guy you heard on the podcast, and now that changed your life a little bit, but that little bit every single day is like over a long period of time makes a huge difference.
I love it. And it's called Get Ish Done, right?
Yeah.
That's such a catchy name. I
Done.
love it, dude. How'd you come up with it?
I actually put it on my Instagram story saying like, yo, I'm starting a podcast. Here's the like premise of it. Here's the type of people I'm going to interview. Does anybody have any ideas? I did a poll and I got like a good amount of responses across Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook and Twitter. And I think one person said something similar. It was like, get shit done. I think that was the person that said it, that I should call the podcast. And I know somebody that started a podcast and you can't say shit in your title when you're naming your podcast.
Oh, you can't?
You can't.
You can't cut like you can't even cuss, or you
you can cuss verbally, but when you're like writing it out in like Apple Podcasts or whatever, you're not able to like cuss in the title.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, well that's kind of whack. I don't want it to say SH star T.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I was like, wait a minute, my name is Ish. Like a lot of people say Ish and replace them for shit. So why not just change it to like Get Ish Done? And then you got the branding. So whenever somebody sees it, they're like, oh, that's Ish's podcast. I know immediately.
That's so sick, dude. Yeah, like the fact that your name is Ish, like
it lends itself to doing it. Like I would be dumb if I didn't use that.
Yeah, you would be. That's such an awesome idea. I know you mentioned like some of the guests like that, the qualities that you want them to have that are on your podcast. What industries are they in?
I do have a very specific industry. So I want it to be I want it to be creatives, entrepreneurs. It could be creative entrepreneurs too. People in tech, athletes, and people in entertainment. So some people dabble in both or like two categories.
Yeah.
But if you could imagine just like Vegas DJs that have like made it cream of the crop. They're like DJing every single week. They're on the radio. To VPs of marketing at tech companies that like are huge, like LinkedIn's, Facebook's, etc. to people that are in the NFL, athletes that have like made it, but they also do stuff on the side, investments. So I guess the underlying theme is people that have
That get shit done.
That get shit done. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's like you've proven with your track record, with your resume, that you've earned where you are, and you weren't just like spoon fed this opportunity. Now I want to go ahead and uncover how you did it and how you currently like maintain it, so that other people can like be inspired and like take those key learnings and like make them work for whatever industry that they're in or they're trying to make it in.
Yeah, it's crazy how educational podcasts are nowadays.
Yeah,
like the ones I listen to, a lot of like my knowledge on a lot of topics nowadays are just from podcasts.
Yeah, I agree. I listen to a ton of like maybe 2 hours a day of podcasts.
It's like cheat codes basically to life. Like
what are some of your favorite podcasts?
Some of the bigger ones, obviously Joe Rogan. Like everyone listens to Joe Rogan. The Brilliant Idiots, Jay Shetty. On purpose. Really honestly, it just depends on like what mood I'm in, to be honest. Agree. Like sometimes I want to laugh. I just put on a mindless like comedy podcast. Sometimes like I really want to be inspired. I'll put on an inspirational one. And that's like beauty of it. There's like so many different categories that you can listen to that like it's like watching Netflix, for example. You get off of work and most people like the last thing you probably want to do is just like think more critically about things. Like, so you want to listen to something mindless, so you turn on something on Netflix. It's like that for podcasts, which is really awesome to see. When is your podcast coming out?
It should be coming out. Right now we're at the end of July, mid to late August. Yeah, I'm doing I got my intro created, and I'm doing episode number 1 is going to be me talking about why I'm doing it, what it is, what people can expect, type of people that I'm going to be hosting, and just to stay tuned. But the first 10 are going to be hitters. I'm super excited. Awesome. I've already got a couple people lined up. I just need to like get to them.
Yeah, that's the hard part, man, is figuring out the scheduling. Everybody's got different schedules.
And thank you for setting this time up.
Of course,
my schedule's
man.
Super crazy, so it's kind of hard for me sometimes.
No, definitely. Yeah, you showed up kind of like, I know I kind of only hit you up, like I had people before, but like you were able to come today, which was really good.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make shit done. Get shit done.
Yeah, shit done, exactly. Yeah. What are some of the podcasts that you like to listen to?
My number one favorite and actually inspired me to start my podcast is Dramas.
DJ Drama?
Yeah. No, Chris Drama Path.
Okay.
His is called, I'm blanking right now. Short Story Long. I don't know how I just blanked. Short Story Long. So his is more storytelling basis, but he interviews tons of people like Nicky Diamond. He interviews DJs. He interviews entrepreneurs. He interviews like people from all different backgrounds, but they're all super cool people. Yeah. And his is cool because I think it's different from all different podcasts in the sense that it's less interview style, which it works for him. Mine is going to be half storytelling, half interview. And even if you don't care for the industry that the guest is on, so like let's say for example, the guest is like multi-millionaire in sneaker industry, which he does have a couple people. If you have no care in the world for sneakers, but you just give it like 5 to 10 minutes of the podcast to listen, you end up like somehow like being like swallowed by the story, and then you're just like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, you would have never been interested in it before.
Never. And that's what I liked about his podcast is there's people from all walks of life, but every single time the story is good and it's each in their own way. Really? And you do learn a ton because these people have literally made it and they're making a ton of money and they're like at the top of their careers. So just like taking the key learnings and applying it to yourself.
Okay. I love it.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. You guys should check it out too if you're listening. Funny story, dude. I actually talked to Nicky Diamonds before when I was working for Yelp.
Really?
Actually, yeah. So my territory for my clients was in Los Angeles, like on Wilshire and Melrose and Fairfax area. So like I had to reach out to him for his diamond store, the flagship store in LA. And like, I don't even know how I finessed like getting his number, but like I worked it out. So like I got to talk to him and he was like so surprised. He's just like, how did you get my number? Like honestly, like who the fuck gave you my number? Yeah, but he was like more figuring out like who gave you my number. Like I want the name of the person. I was just cause like you're not supposed to have my number. Yeah. And I was just like, I knew the guy's name, but I was like, I'm not gonna about to rat this guy out. But I mean, it ended up working out because like I was trying to get him to get ads on Yelp and everything like that. But it didn't end up working out. But I still got him to like give him some more info about Yelp. But I was still tripping out. I was like, I'm talking to Nikki Diamonds
right
about
now.
Yelp right now.
That's
Like,
crazy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Some good experiences working there for sure. Got to talk to some pretty dope people. My favorite thing about working at Yelp, I know you talked a lot about like your favorite stuff at LinkedIn, was just like all I did all day was talk to business owners. So I learned so much about every industry.
And like the problems that each person has.
Exactly. Their pain points. Just learning how their business works. It's just like little things that I wouldn't even have known previous, like nail shops, auto repair shops, restaurants all over the world. It's like the most nichest of business out there. I saw so many cool businesses, and it really gave me inspiration, like for starting this or like any business that I want to start in life. It's like I know like some of the trials and tribulations that they have in life.
You know what you should do? This I just thought of this right now, and given the audience for this podcast is, you should do like 5 or 10 minute like podcast episodes where it's just you talking and giving like tips and learnings that you got from that job. Okay. Because you're, like you said, you talk to tons of people every single day, and you understand the pain points, and obviously working for Yelp, you know the solution, even if Yelp doesn't like offer it. So maybe even doing like, hey guys, if you're looking to start a business in the next X amount of months, here's some things you should consider. Here's like how to build out your presence. Here's how to like think about your brand. And like, I'm sure like your audience is creatives and people that are doing their own thing and doing cool stuff. So they would find like value out of that.
No, I love that, dude. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some more research and try to craft something. Because I have my weekly guests and everything like that, which is awesome. But I definitely want to start putting out some more content and not make it just a weekly thing.
And the cool thing about like this idea is it's on like all the pressure's on you, so it's whenever you have time to create it, whenever you have time to think about it, versus like scheduling and all that.
I love it though, man. It's like it's like kind of consumes you, like because similar to like you, like I feel like I always have to have something to go on. I played D1 sports and like at my college, and you know like your schedule is crafted out for you for the entire day, so you're used to doing shit 24/7. And then like when I started getting a job,
you're like, what do I do from 5 p.m.
dude,
to
like,
11
I would walk around with my head cut off, like, and I was just like, I was just like, I have to have something else going on. So like, it's just like taking that passion I had for football and using that towards like something else. I just had to find what that was, and like I'm glad that I found it now, because I can put all my energy into this one thing, dude. I love it. And it's amazing. One more thing I wanted to touch on though was like for you being so active on social media. You mentioned some of like the meditation you do, but like how do you be so active on social media? Like do you strategize your content, or what exactly do you do to be so active, I guess, on social media?
I do have, I guess I do have like an omnipresence feel, like I'm always on certain channels. Like I kind of have a little bit of a strategy. So like Instagram stories, I use it to show what I'm doing every single day, who I'm with, things that I'm learning, showing my routine. Facebook is more of like asking questions and sharing highlights. So I do have a little bit of a strategy for each channel.
What about Twitter?
Twitter is more of like engaging with my people. So like putting stuff out there and testing it to see like, okay, what are people feeling with this? I can put out a couple tweets and like get a feel for it. Also just funny stuff, and kind of like sometimes just like news, and mindlessly like detach from the world and see like funny things. And then LinkedIn is like one of my heavy hitters in terms of social too. So I have a pretty solid following on there, and it's all just like great content, like blogs, learnings, tips that I've found, that I've learned, or from other people that I've found online. But I guess how do I do it is your question. It's going to sound kind of crazy, but as much of a social media person as I am, I don't consume a lot of social media. So, and it sounds nuts because my day-to-day, I guess for my day job, I do consume a lot because I also do community management, which essentially is, if you think about a brand like, I don't know, Wendy's, and when Wendy's is replying to people that are talking crap about their brand in a funny way because they're awesome on Twitter.
I love seeing those.
That's community management. That's somebody like out there just actively seeing and responding to people. But aside from like my day job, for my personal social media, I don't spend too much time on social, just like scrolling. So that allows me to have more time and energy into like pushing content out.
Okay.
So if you think about it, I'm pushing a lot more content out than I am consuming.
Okay, that's a key for you then.
Well, because I don't have any other time to do it.
Yeah. Because, like, you are so active on it. It's like you're a guru of social media in a sense to me. So, and you're so consistent with it.
Yeah.
What are some of the tips you have for, like, the average person out there who wants to garner, like, a bigger following on their social media accounts?
I learned this by Gary Vee a few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, when I really blew up my social media. So I think it was 2016. I had specifically Instagram. I had like 7,000 followers on Instagram, and I had been building that just from like school, like meeting everybody that I met from every party I ever DJ'd. I was always branding, promoting myself. So I built it up to like 7,000 followers. 2016, 2017, I went from like 7,000 to like 15 or 16,000.
Oh,
and
shit.
that was me literally every single day, 6 days a week, spending on Instagram location tags and hashtags and commenting on things, like following people, messaging people, DMing, liking, and just basically being everywhere around the world at once for like not very long every day. It was probably, I think I had it in my daily routine, my daily schedule. It was like one of the last things that I did. So it was from like, I'm trying to think now, I had it written down. It was from like 11 to 11:25 p.m. And I would try to be asleep by like, at that time, it was like 12 or 1 a.m. was around the time that I was sleeping, that was no bueno. But I had that 25 to 30 minutes every single day, like basically putting myself out there for tons of people to see and getting my name in front of a ton of people. And it worked. Like 20, let's say you do 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. What is that? 2, 4, 6, that's 3 hours every week of just one channel, Instagram. And that's like a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's like mindless and it's annoying to have to do. But if you think about, if I can I don't know, 100, let's say 100 pictures in 10 minutes, imagine what you can do in 30 minutes. Imagine what you can do in 3 hours.
Yeah.
If I'm DMing 10 people every 5 minutes and actually writing a thoughtful message, imagine what you can do in 3 hours worth of time. And then you multiply that times 1 year, 2 years.
Man, wow.
So that was just like a very tactical strategy that I learned from Gary Vee.
And again, maximizing your time, right?
And then also not like going down the rabbit hole of doing it for like way too much time in one day, because then you waste all of your energy. And it's like pretty annoying to have to do that, like on Instagram, just mindlessly messaging people and like liking and hashtags and all that. But that's, anybody can do that. Like, let's say you're starting a barbershop, you can go right now on Instagram and type in like men's haircuts, swaggy haircuts, or like type in the locations of some of the dope barber shops around the world, and like find inspiration and start like liking comments, or like liking pictures and commenting like dope cuts. Check out our cuts for, I don't know, more inspiration, or like you inspire us, like commenting things and putting your brand out there. If I have 20,000 followers and at least 2,000 of them see my content on a regular basis, and you comment on my picture, the odds are a percentage of them are going to see that comment.
Yeah.
And of that percentage, a percentage are going to click your name, because people are nosy. People want to see like, who is that, who that is. And if it's a thoughtful message and if it's a thoughtful comment, the percentage gets higher and higher, you know?
Yeah. So playing your odds and engagement and a lot of like genuine.
Yeah. I think Twitter's a platform. If you're trying to grow on Twitter, that's a huge platform that you can, even if you don't have a big following, I think you can get your content and your name in front of a lot of people.
It's just as easy as getting a retweet. If somebody's following you, and it has 1,000 followers, let's say, they just click to retweet, and you just got exposure of like 1,000 people.
Yeah, imagine getting 10 of your friends to retweet you, which Instagram kind of can do it in Instagram stories, but in written form it's different, or video, whatever you're putting on Twitter. But I also think that Twitter is super powerful, because the search function on Twitter is like no other platform. Like you can, if I want to start a podcast, I can go right now to Twitter and say, type in just starting podcast on Twitter, and I'll find all of the like past 100 conversations that have been happening in the past 10 minutes right now. And I can just like to every single one, or respond to people and be like, yo, I'm starting mine next week. Any tips? Yo, I'm starting mine next week. Any tips? Yo, like to a ton of people.
Yeah.
Or I can like genuinely go and like see people that are talking about it. Maybe they're starting it too. Maybe I can hit them up, and they could be a guest on my podcast.
Yeah.
Or you know like the search function on Twitter is like nothing else. So I think using that, even if you're not trying to grow on Twitter and it's not your main channel that you want to like Instagram is your one that you want to brand on, maybe Twitter's the one that you use for like searching and insights and understanding your audience.
Every platform serves its own purpose, right?
Exactly.
And just learning how to maximize that platform to reach your goals, would you say, is key?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I love it. Where can people find you on social media?
So all my social media is DJ Ish, DJISHH. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then LinkedIn. It's Ish Verduzco. So my last name is VERDUZCO. If you want to follow cool business articles and dope information, I find the best stuff that I see on the internet and just reshare with my audience.
Yeah, man, get your LinkedIn game up. Honestly,
get it up. You have yours up? We're gonna have to do it one-on-one.
Definitely. I need some tips for you on your LinkedIn pages, and it also too something like that, like you making connections and utilizing that other person, because I see a lot of friends starting businesses, and like I'll do that same thing. I'll be like, hey man, like I used to work at Yelp, let me like help you out. I just want to like literally help you succeed, because like I know like how we grew up, and like I want to make sure that like you're getting the best out of like your platforms and everything like that. So like I'll help them. So yeah, well, I'll definitely have to ask you some tips on that.
Sounds good. Yeah.
One more thing, question I had to ask you: what would you tell a young like 16-year-old Ish if you had to give advice? Like, what would you say to yourself?
That's a really good question. 16 is super specific too. Let me think what I was doing now. 16. I would probably say like I was super involved in high school. I would say like be a little bit less involved with school and like more time just enjoying all of it, you know? Like I was super involved. I think at 16 I was in like AP stats class, AP Spanish, a part of like two organizations for the school that helped other students like be better in classes, ASB, 2 sports, and then commuting from Riverside to Fontana. So that was like 45 minutes. I think I overloaded myself in high school just because I was so worried about like not doing too hot in SATs and trying to get into the dream college and all that. I think I got consumed a little bit. Yeah. So I would just say like enjoy a little bit more, like enjoy like being young. Obviously like be smart with your decisions and think about what you want to do in like for your future, but don't let it consume you and like get too stressed out over the little things and just kind of enjoy being a kid.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I love it. All right, Ish, well, I appreciate you doing this, man. You guys listen out there, stay tuned for Ish's podcast, Get Ish Done, coming out next month. Follow him on social media. But other than that, man,
yeah,
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.